Jy sal die posisie inneem van 'n persoonlike verpleegster. Sarel sal hier, dalk sal sy ferm hand vatplek op jou kry.
My naam is Anna. Ek is meneer se nuwe versorger.
My name is Jaco Minnaar. I am the director and co-writer of the film Poe, which translates to Peacock in English. Now, Peacock is a gothic story about a young woman called Anna, who is caught up in this puritanical institution. And when she oversteps their strict rules, she gets sent away to a remote farm where she has to care for an old man as his private nurse. This guy is called Sarel, and he is one of the institution's founders. He's a patriarchal figure, an apartheid-era theologian, and he's spending his last days on this farm in a kind of demented paranoia. Now, the more time Anna spends with him on the farm, the more she gets sucked into his dark world of visions and hallucinations. And the more she stays there, the more she starts seeing these things as well. Now, she will have to act from her deepest convictions, or otherwise she just may get sucked into this darkness forever. So what inspired me to make this film? Well, the original inspiration came when I was studying some of the black paintings of the Spanish painter Francisco Goya, and kind of at the same time I was reading and listening to interviews with some of the apartheid leaders, and I was struck by their unwillingness to apologize for the atrocities of the past. And it kind of made me wonder about what happens to these old men, these patriarchs, in their last days. It was also then kind of flowed together to kind of become an interesting way to explore South Africa, where we come from, where we are now, and maybe where we are headed. To me, the South Africa that I grew up in the 80s and 90s was a super weird place, and where the weirdness is kind of stitched right into the mundane, and I felt that the gothic, the horror, would be an interesting way to explore all of these ideas. I guess the biggest challenges came early on in just getting the film financed. There's not a lot of financing opportunities available in South Africa, and especially not for a film like this. The next challenges came during post-production, which happened as the COVID-19 lockdown started. Obviously better to be in post than in production, but I was in one part of the country and the rest of the post-production team in a different part of the country, so that created issues with just communication. As always, I think on films, there's a big team, so there's creative differences that we had to overcome. And then sadly, we also lost some members of our post-production team to COVID-19, which created challenges of its own. But luckily, we were able to overcome all of these and have the film out in the world. Did anything weird or interesting happen while making this film? I guess the best example for me is after spending such a long time driving around looking for the right farmhouse location, we finally found this beautiful house shortly before we went into production. And when we got into the house, we found these curtains with peacocks on them, and it was just so great. It was just such a perfect coincidence, and we quickly knew we had to make it part of the story. And it now just like pulls a specific scene and a specific part of the story together so well that I almost can't imagine the film without it.